All right, we're live. Where'd I put my drink? Oh. Let's see. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got my son to sleep, so figure we could talk. Waiting for you to show up. Just drink my fancy bubble water. And wait. What's going on? Oh man, is there? I should have fucked with that before I probably. What's going on, guys? What is new? What's up, Sci-Fi Rogue? Book reading Billy. What's up, brother? Just chilling, hanging out. Figured I got a sec. Let's bullshit. My son's actually sleeping like last couple days, man. It's been like impossible to get him to bed, or I mean, to get him to nap. It's been a pain in my ass. What's going on, Jen? Jordan Workman, you reading any horror? I am reading. I'm rereading Interview with the Vampire right now because I started watching the new adaptation. It made me really well, I don't know if I want to get into all that, but I mean, I wanted to make sure that my memory was serving me correctly. So I have blasted through it. I love that fucking book, and I'm kind of glad. Like, part of not revisiting it over the years might have been a little bit of worry that my opinion on it would change. Not whatsoever. Fuck me. If not, like, because of my reading experience and the fact that I've become a more like accomplished reader, let's just say, I'm being able to really appreciate a lot of stuff that might have been hard for me to get as a new reader. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys really consider that a horror. It is like gothic horror, you know. There are some parts in that book that are actually, I was like, fuck, this is disturbing. And she also has a really good way of invoking that like atmospheric kind of horror as well. So I'm really loving it. I'm loving being back in the Anne Rice world. Look, okay, Ruben. Looking to get into Grimdark Hard. Yeah, Grimdark Hard. For top 3 suggestions. So my top 3 suggestions for Grimdark would be Prince of Thorns, Beyond Redemption, and I guess, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, you got to put in the Blade itself." But I just want to tell you, the Blade itself, you really need to read the whole trilogy. Where, like, and I'm not saying you don't need to read the others, like the Broken Empire trilogy, but where Prince of Thorns almost it wraps itself up in a self-contained manner where you could at least take a step back. Whereas, you know, the Blade itself, you're just starting the story by the end of the first book. So maybe it's not. I mean, a lot of people think that's the best recommendation. I'm not so sure, unless you're like totally willing to read 3 books or at least 2, because I think that second one is a banger. But yeah, at least I would definitely go with Prince of Thorns. It's got a nice lightning fast pace, so it's something you can get through and like rather quickly. And then you're like, okay, well, I didn't have to, you know, slog through anything, so I'm already on the other end, and I can make my assessment if this is what I like or not. You know, where you might end up slogging through the Blade itself, might take you a while. Beyond Redemption, goddamn, I can't recommend that enough. I'm trying to think of what's a good, you know, Blackstone Heart by Michael R. Fletcher is also not a bad place to start. Uh, especially people that are brand new to the subgenre. There's a lot going on in there, and it doesn't go too far, but it still has plenty of fucked up shit. So that's another good one. There's a lot of entry points. One of my main ones will always be Prince of Thorns, but Beyond Redemption, I would say, is right there with it. Aaron G. Hope you're doing well, man. Happy Halloween early. Yes, I love Halloween. Do you plan on getting Ash and Sand trilogy? I picked up the first book, so I'm not sure when I'm gonna read it, but it's on my fucking to-do list. It's like it's moved off my radar and on to the yes, we are going to be reading this. I just don't know when. Karen Gill, Red Rising. If you want a sci-fi grimdark book, okay, I have heard plenty of good things about Red Rising. It's on my list as well. I have that book. Man, I know I think it's a pretty quick read, so it's something that I will get to eventually. I'm trying to think if there. Oh, the thing is with sci-fi, I want to get to Empire of Silence. I want to get to Christopher Rocchio stuff, I think, first. Ruben, cheers. Watched your review on Prince of Thorns and Blackstone Heart. Already ordered both. Yeah, they're great. And the thing is about both of those books is they got that pacing. You're not going to get bogged down. You're going to go on a grimdark journey. like, and that's one reason why it's easy for me to recommend those books, because I do feel like regardless of your reading level, you can get into those and not get bogged down. Yes, sir. Aaron G. Yes, sir. Mark, it's dope as fuck. Right on. Yeah. I've heard really good things. Several other YouTubers, as well as just like readers that I know that I respect their opinion, all speak rather highly of it. And I've also been in a panel with Richard Dell, and that guy, pretty fucking funny. Like, but he's got this like very like him style of humor. It's not, I don't know what it is. He made me smile like through the whole fucking deal. I was like, this guy's fucking a smartass, but in the best way. All right, Ruben K. Reading Golden Sun at the moment, so good. Yeah, I've heard that those books only get better. I think maybe the second, or it's like the second or third book that's like people really rant about. I want to. Is this BOA or is it just BNA? It's got that symbol. I'm not. You're making me think too hard. But where can I get the Blackstone Heart? I can't find it at any stores. So one of the reasons why you probably can't find it in stores, but I mean, Michael Fletcher is he is a Canadian, so I don't know if he has anything worked out with any bookstores there in Canada. But it is a self-published title, so he put it out himself. It's not put out by a publisher, which could be the reason why you're having a hard time finding it in a store. The easiest way to do it is just go on Amazon. You can find all the stuff on Amazon. And the cool thing about Blackstone Heart right now, guys, is I'm pretty sure it's all done and out there. I don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty fucking sure that the omnibus is now available. So you can just buy all three in one shot. And I think you can get it on Kindle, or you can get it. I think you might be able to get it in physical form as well. I saw somebody post a picture of the Kindle cover of the omnibus, so I know you can read that shit. And it just depends on if you don't mind digital reading or not. I was real hesitant with digital reading, and guys, it's really become one of my favorite ways to consume fucking books now. Chadia, hello. Still on my way home, but I'm listening. Hey, thank you so much. The Sci-Fi Rogue. What is it? Ian M. Banks. The Culture is my favorite sci-fi book series. It really just a bunch of standalones in a shared universe. I really dig that approach, where it's not necessarily a series. It's more like standalones, but there is a connection to the world. Adrian Selby is really good at doing this with the fantasy world he creates. All his books take place in the same world, but by all means, there's separate stories, separate characters, different times. So you can really jump in wherever you want. And there's no like obligation that you have to read all three. You know what I mean? Though I would say that from what I've read, two of the three books, and they're fucking great. Boom, boom. Hello from Korea. Fuck yes. Hello. I'm fucking in Alaska. If you can't see, guys, it snowed last night, so there's like some snow on the fucking trees and shit. It's kind of a pain in my ass because I got to get all this firewood chopped for winter and everything, and it's just I'm losing time. BOA, yes. Yeah, awesome, cool. Just making sure, brother. Big Mac. I thought doing the live stream because Baker's announcement on his blog about him starting to write No God duology. What? What? That happened like 20 minutes ago. But I guess I just delivered the news. Yes, you did, Big Mac. What the fuck? Dude, if I would have waited like 20 minutes and found this shit out, this whole thing would have been structured way different. Holy fuck. Hold on, let me read this again. I thought you were doing it stream because Baker's announcement on his blog about him starting to write the No God duology. Well, it looks like I have a fucking video to make. Holy fuck. I gotta talk to Madness. What the you hey guys. Damn. Holy shit, dude. My heart's skipped. The hype is real, folks. This is crazy. Big Mac, can't thank you enough for this little piece of information. It's going to be hard for me to like not be somewhere else right now, guys. I'm going to try my hardest to pay attention to the chat, but trust me, at this point, my head is fucking spinning. Yes. Yeah, like I said, that's a video. It's a whole video I could talk about. So let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. Big Mac, thank you. Curran Gill. I Kobo. I prefer it over reading physical copies. Okay, yeah. The thing for me with the Kindle, like I said, I just thought holding a paperback I was such a junkie to like the trades, and I got to call them trades like comic book or whatever, but trade paperbacks. So when I switched to the Kindle, I was like, man, I don't know. But I did it because I really wanted to start saving some money. Being a booktuber can be very expensive. So, and I saw that real fast. And I wanted to try to save myself some money. And then when I realized you can make the font bigger, it blew me away. Because a lot of times, that's why I don't read mass market paperbacks, is because the font is too small. My eyes are horrible, and it's so much nicer. And I feel like by making the font bigger, my reading speed increased, just because I'm able to, like, I'm not straining, I'm not like really working to see the fucking words. So it's just like, boom, there's flying right off the fucking digital screen. I checked Amazon, only Audible, not on Kobo. Keep trying. Reading Empire of the Vampire right now. Okay, checked Amazon only, Audible. BOA, are you in America or are you in another country? Because that I'm not sure if it might depend on where you're at as well. I can also talk Canada. Shit. Yeah, that's right. You said Canada. I'm gonna have to talk to fucking Fletcher. Like, what the fuck, man? How come your fellow Canucks can't get the fucking books, eh? I'm just fucking around. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, especially with self-published. It's really important for those books to be available, because if they can't be in stores, you got to be able to get them on the internet. So I'll talk to him about it, man. I mean, because I can't, like I said, I do think that those stories are very worth it, man. Like She Dreams in Blood was definitely one of my favorite reads. Was it last year when I read it or the year before? Either way, so good. Aaron G, prefer physical books because I'm a slow reader. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like I said, I love a physical book too, like because that's just what we had. We didn't have digital fucking deals back in the day, so it was paper. You know what's funny is I realized this the other day, is like, especially when I first started reading, I didn't know enough about reading, so I didn't know there was a difference between mass market paperback and paperback. I thought like you had hardcover and mass market paperback, and that was it. So I would always buy these tiny little fucking books. And then when I got into I think it was when someone gave me the Vampire Lestat to read, like back in I don't like this early 2000s. And shit, man, I was like, this thing is big and comfy, and it's not super hard like the hardback. So it's like it just reads even easier. Ugh, I fell in love with paperbacks after reading that book. So I get the physical like copy deal big time. That's why I'm just so surprised about how much I've adapted to the Kindle. I only have one book. Oh, okay, cool. Is it Day Song? I only have one book in English, but I have a few thrillers in Korean. It doesn't sound interesting for people overseas, I think. I'll tell you one thing. There's the Korean show Kingdom, or maybe it's just called The Kingdom. That like it's about like takes place in the feudal Korean times. That show is fucking amazing, so good, and I hope it doesn't get like the axe from Netflix or anything because to me that was just pure enjoyment. The Sci-Fi Rogue. Don't be surprised if I start a reread of Prince of Nothing before the year is out. Yeah, that I can't recommend the reread of that series because, like I said, there's so much mystery, and Baker can be very ambiguous even after all the pieces are out there. So you're really playing detective that first read through, and you got all these crazy banana cuckoo bonker fucking ideas going on in your head. So there's things that are just going to fall at the wayside, and this is natural. So the reread, you don't have to play detective anymore. You're just hanging out and you're along for the ride. And this is when details start getting soaked up. And a lot of the stuff that might have just felt like, like the names of houses and, all this shit that kind of just feels like stuff that he's just throwing at you that first read through. The second time, it hits because these houses, these men, these nations, and it just feels so much. You were like, yes, this is fucking epic. Fuck. It's so awesome. The second time through. Sure, there's some things that that are coming, so they're gonna have a little less impact, but I'll tell you one thing that surprised the fuck out of me was the Battle of Mengeta. That might not have hit as hard, but it was right. I mean, I was still like fist pumping and shit, and I already knew everything that was gonna happen. And I almost want to do like a video of the Battle of Mengeta, like a spoiler video where I just kind of like narrate it or something. I love that battle. Oh, so Sci-Fi Rogue, I totally recommend you do that, especially if No God's coming out. Oh fuck! Oh my god! Ah. Try that link for BSHNCA. Hi, Mark. Hi, Angela. Thank you, too. Thank you, Angela. I don't watch Korean shows or TV series because I live under a rock. Hey, that's okay. Fuck. I mean, I've definitely gone through my periods of time where I have lived under a rock. And it's funny because when I finally pop my head out of said rock, I start seeing all this shit. And I'm like, dude, have you guys fucking heard about this? Or have you seen this? And they're like, bro, where the fuck have you been? I'm notoriously late to the party. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes on accident. Sci-Fi Rogue. Pretty much describing my experience rereading a Game of Thrones. Okay, so that's what's cool is I'll tell you this, guys. I am so ready to give Song of Ice and Fire that second shot because I read Game of Thrones a long time ago and like about fucking over 10 years ago. And I just didn't get it. But that's also because I wasn't ready for it, and I think I am now. And Fire or the House of Dragon, holy fuck. That show's got me pumped, man. So I'm like, yeah, what better time to decide to get into fucking Martin stuff and devour it. So I'm gonna be doing Martin. That's probably the next like big name or whatever, a series that I'm gonna cover. I understand it's not finished, but I'm gonna at least be jumping back into it and see if I can't smash that whole thing out. I think Steve from Steve Talks About Books. Is it Steve Talks About Books and Stuff? Shit. Either way, Steve you guys should know Steve. If you don't, go fucking follow his channel. I think he told me in January him and some other people are starting, and I'm like, that sounds perfect. That gives me time to try to knock out a lot of stuff I'm dragging my feet on, and then I can also be kind of getting into it with other people. It's been a minute since I've done a read along, really, so I'm ready. Well read, well known. I feel like that's what the Malazan reread is going to be like once I finish for the first time. That is well read, well known. Hey, that so yes. So I've only read Gardens of the Moon, so I can't really speak, but I do know this. Like I know plenty of readers, like I know these guys and I know people that have read both. But the one thing is like one thing that you'll see pretty it's pretty much like across the board, like where people will tell you that both those series become more clear on the reread. So it's like they're both massive undertakings, but they're also, like almost, I guess, designed to be reread. Like there's the first experience, and then there's kind of like the second one is like for the further understanding. I don't know. But I could definitely see it with something like Malazan, especially with that many characters, that many books. Holy fuck. The Sci-Fi Rogue. I think about the ending of Unholy Console all the time. Dude, I just finished that reread and goddamn, that book is so good. It's so good. It's so good. And I don't want to spoil I just don't want to spoil it for anybody but it's just like those books are so, especially the further you push, are just so goddamn bleak that certainly by the end of the Unholy Consult, and don't get me wrong, I'm super pumped now that No God's being written. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, God damn it, I need more. But upon that reread, I was so like surprised with how comfortable I was with if we didn't get any more, if that was the ending. But God damn it, I'm excited as all fuck now. Dude, you guys realize like, oh God damn it. That's so cool. Barry S. Hey there, dude. You got an awesome channel. Hey, thank you, Barry. Thank you. I definitely try. It's been, man, my channel, it's guys, if I'm being honest, my channel has been not doing so good as far as analytics go. I'm still having fun, so I'm still doing it, obviously. But it's ish. This is one reason why I think I've been trying to do these live chats, because at least I get to talk to you guys a bit more. But yeah, like my views and everything have tanked so fucking awful. And a lot of that's probably my own fault from disappearing, popping in and out of the fucking scene, sometimes covering shit nobody really wants. But that's the thing. I'm always going to do what I want to do, not what I should be doing. And hopefully, yeah, I think that in the end, the right people will see for what it is, like Barry here, and say, fuck, man, it's awesome. And they're getting what they need out of it. And that helps me, because then I get what I need out of the channel too. Because if it ain't nobody going to watch this shit, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fucking talk to myself. Aaron G, not sure if Sword of Kaigen is a grimdark book. I've heard good things, might pick it up. Any thoughts? I haven't read Sword of Kaigen. I have it because I know there's a bunch of people in my Discord. And if you ever want to go to because there's a bunch of people that have read it. So if you ever want to pop in the Discord and just kind of ask about it, there's a lot of people with very good they have very good like reading critiques. Like you can trust them when they tell you things. So if you want to know more about that book, I would pop in there and ask them. I have heard it's very beautiful. It could also be really sad, I guess, which, God damn it, that really attracts me. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's the kind of shit that made me really love some of Tolkien stuff. It was beautiful and tragic. So I don't know if it's in that same kind of, not same written, but just, beautiful and tragic. I'm probably going to be picking it up. It's just one of those things where we have a gajillion books. So you're trying to get to like all this stuff, and me being a moody reader, I'll pick shit up all the time and put it right back down and just keep cycling through books until I find the one that hits, and then later on, I'll pick that one that I put down back up. It's just never ending. Finished or not, I cannot recommend A Song of Ice and Fire highly enough. And that's how I feel, man. Like, I'm like, dude, I don't need it to be finished. If the books are good, I want to read them. I've heard, I think it's the second or third book in that series that people are like, this is the best fantasy ever. And that's how I feel about fucking Baker's stuff. So if people are saying that, I guarantee you, if I read it and I like it, I'm not fucking gonna be super pissed off about like that the series isn't finished because I got to read a kick-ass book. I understand there's frustration that will be there because you want closure, or you want the story to continue. You just want more. We're like fucking crackheads. Give us some more. God damn it, George. But yeah, I am really stoked. Yes, Steve talks books. Woohoo! Yeah, brother, I was talking about him. We're gonna be reading this. Is it January, Steve, that you want to start A Song of Ice and Fire? Because I'm super down to be doing this with you guys. Kern Gill. I tried Malazan. I don't think it was for me. I'm a character-driven reader, and it seemed like Malazan was more about the world. That first tried. How many books did you read? Just the first one, or just try to read the first one? The first one I read, I liked it, but I also have heard that it's not a great representation. You know, I just see right here, Amanda, Shelf Unstable. You guys should check out her fucking channel if you have it. She says, "Hey, Mark, new setup looks awesome." But I believe that Amanda is somebody that is well versed in the Malazan world. And maybe she could break that down better. I mean, for me, there was a lot of characters. There was a lot of world. It was just a lot of a lot. Steve talks about books at work and always seem to miss these live, but always watch the replays. Hey, brother, thank you for any bit of your time is appreciated, man. Look at this little ducktail thing I got going on back here. Let's see if I can pull that fucker back. All right, Chadi, I watched your interview with the vampire video, and I don't even watch TV. Ah, yes. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I've decided I was going to cover that show. I started watching it, and I was super hesitant. And I was like kind of geared up to like throw rocks at the screen. And I like the fucking show, guys. I don't, you know, I think that the writing is good. The acting is good. The sound, like the music is really good. The atmosphere that they're capturing is good. Have they changed a shit ton of stuff? Yes. But what they're not doing is like the Rings of Power shit. Like right out the gate, you know they're taking it in a new direction. They're not trying to hide their new direction under like familiar territory. Like it's right up on Front Street. So like I said with those videos, because I understand like there's plenty of people out there that were just like me that wanted to just, you know, fuck you to that show. But if you give it a moment, you might be just like me and be super surprised. I just watched episode 3 and I was like, dude, I fucking love the show. And like I said earlier, it reinvigorated my fucking passion for the old, you know, for the books, the source material. And honestly, to me, that's one of the best things a show can do is get someone excited for the source material. So I get it. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be a passionate fan. I know what it's like to be, you know, in love with characters and books. Trust me, I do. So I do know like sometimes it's just uncomfortable and you don't want to go there. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want your love touched with or, you know, fucked with, touched with. So, I mean, I get it, guys. But like I said, the amount of surprise that I have, you know, experienced while watching that show really pushed me to go make videos. And guys, you should also know, like, I've got a lot of goddamn hate, especially on that first video. It was like I was not just like comments, but like people decided to email me, fucking Discord me and shit, and it was crazy. I got fucking kind of bullied, dude. It was kind of bullshit. So I was like kind of kicking around the idea of just not doing it anymore. Like I should just let this fucking go. But fuck that. I'm enjoying myself. I want to cover what I want to cover, so I'm gonna fucking cover it. And I think the most like mature thing for me to do is just stop engaging with anybody that's being super ridiculous. Because also there have been people that have given me just extremely in-depth fucking information on their perspective and why they disagree. And I loved that. That was awesome. And I'm always trying to open up discussion for that. Like, I don't think that just because we have different opinions, we have to argue or not get along. You know what I mean? The beauty is that we have different perspectives and that we can pull them all together as a collective and check them out and say, like, oh, isn't that cool that that's the way that they saw it? I don't know. Yeah. So Amanda says, hell yeah, baby, Malazan all day. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, Amanda's quick with it with the Malazan stuff. I would really send you in her direction. She'll probably line you all out. In fact, when I decide to finally get into it, that's probably who I'm going to be hitting up. You and probably Philip. Which man, I'm getting. I think well read, well known says I think Gardens of the Moon sets up the world really well. But Deadhouse Gates is when the character work starts to shine. They're amazing. Okay, cool. And Deadhouse Gates is book 2, right? Or is it book 3? Like there's this, what is it, Song of Ice or Dance with Ice? Something Ice? Ice Castle? Ice Coffee? I don't fucking know. I got fucking my fucking face hair in my mouth. Oh man. Angela says I would label it more as thematically driven series. Okay. Well read, well known, but I do agree it seems to be mostly theme driven. I'm on Reaper's Gale right now. Cool. My buddy Evan is really digging though. He was like when he read Baker, he put it in number 1, like his number 1 fucking author spot, and he has since just now he's like burning through Malazan. It's at an insane rate, and just like a couple books in, he was like, "Yeah, I think Erickson has surpassed Baker for me," and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." Wow, haters gonna hate. Yeah, Chadia, yeah, they are gonna hate, and that's the thing. I understand that. It's the fucking internet. It was just bizarre because it was like literally I was like, you are trying to like minimize my perspective. Like, do you realize like how fucking shitty that is? And then also it's just like you also need to realize like it was like I'm for the show. For the show. Like technically we're on the same fucking team. So why are you fucking throwing me the shit? I'm like, you realize that there's plenty of motherfuckers out there that are just screaming fucking like about that show being hot trash, garbage, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why don't you go fucking fuck with them? That was my take on it. I was just kind of surprised. It was not the video I guess I was expecting to get a bunch of pushback on, but it did. Haters are motivators. Yes, they are, Aaron. And that was not only was the show really like getting my passion stirred, it was also getting fucked with by supposed fans. So that made me want like to go back and read that shit because then I was like, yeah, look, it fucking this is exactly my fucking argument. Like, so I kind of feel like a lot of people that were really coming down on me hadn't even actually read the books. Chadia says, I like Baker so far, but Hobb is number 1. I have heard great things about Hobb, and unfortunately, Hobb it might be the very last one I get to. And you know what? It would be fucked as if it ends up being like my favorite or something. But I really want to get to Martin. I'm trying to get into Guy Gavriel K. I want to do Erickson. There's a bunch of stuff that's going to be pretty demanding. So it's the realm. Was it Realm of the Elderlings or what? Assassins or whatever her series is. Like I think she probably got multiple, but probably on the back burner. All right. Angela says, like Mark mentioned, Gardens of the Moon isn't necessarily the most indicative of the series, though I liked it. I will also say that the characters in Gardens of the Moon are definitely important. I really liked some of the characters in Gardens of the Moon. Like Hairlock, I know everyone's like always like shaking their head, but I'm fucking Hairlock. He's a creative fucking cuckoo bird, man. Like fucking an evil being. I'll just say that so I don't spoil anything. But the transformation is like crazy attitude. All I just could envision him, and he really stole my black heart. I liked him a lot. Oh no. Rudis Hansen says there's no update to Baker's blog nor anywhere else. Well, we're gonna be digging. We'll be digging after this. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, but I'm ah. My Kern says might not read it again. I've tried Erickson a few times. I don't find it hard to read. I just don't really put the world building that high. I got you. I don't. Like I said, I know people that like, especially like Philip is full on and into that series, and I really respect his opinions and shit. And I think that he's obviously no dummy, so there's something there. I know for sure. But that's the thing, is like not every world, not every character, not every book is going to hit everybody. Like we're all, as much as we might have similar interests, every once in a while there's just some things work and some things don't. One book I hope I can eventually get into it, but it's really been it always nags at me, is God Blind. I just couldn't get into it because of kind of similar to something of like Erickson's nature, where I'm trying to remember the author's name. Is it Anna Smith? I think. Oh man, I'm botching this. But anyway, God Blind has a lot of perspectives that just pop really quickly. So you're going from one to the other and it just seemed to cycle too quick for me, and I just couldn't get into it. And I know those books are fucking cool. But it's just that the way that they're structured doesn't necessarily work for me. Kern says, for me, the world is only as interesting as your characters for me. So yeah, you definitely want you more character driven like reader. But then even then it depends on like all characters or a certain kind of character, because I'm kind of particular. I'm all about character. God damn, I'm all about character fucking driven stories, but I do have kind of a type of character that I tend to enjoy more than others. Well read, well known. Hairlock was fantastic. I was in love with the series by page 50. Yeah. I will say this, there's as far as his writing, like he's got some really cool fucking lines in that book. One that's still like, you guys gotta understand, I read that book a long time ago, and I still have like this part of it stuck in my head, and I might butcher it, but there's like a bunch of shit, calamity, just fucking shit's exploding, and he's got this line that talks about like kind of like the rubble like going fucking like hitting soldiers and going through their body, and it talks about like the fucking like what is it, what does he say, like the rubble going through their body like hot stones and snow. And for me, that like simile or whatever, like that, it just really resonated, stuck, and just I've always loved it. Yeah, so the guy can write for sure. Anna Stevens, thank you so much, Angela. I felt like such an asshole I couldn't remember her fucking last name. Yes, this is a book I just want to get into. I just struggle every time I pick it up. Angela says, I'm glad I read Malazan and I enjoyed it a lot, but I also didn't like some of it as well. There is an entire book of the main 10 I would cast out, but not all the books in the series are equal. That's usually how it goes. Yeah, Kurt's like, not Mary Sue's. You like flawed characters? That's good. I have to admit, I liked Mary Sue's when I first started reading. I liked overpowered fucking badasses. But just where I'm at today, years later, I love flawed people. I love a flawed character. This is where you get all that room for development, whether it's going to be like, where are they going to become a bigger piece of shit, or are they going to become a good person? Like, because I'm down either way. I read Gone Blind, and it started out with a sacrifice, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. Yeah. Sci-Fi Rogue, I think you're gonna like Karsa Orlong. Is that is Karsa Orlong from that sounds like a fucking First Law name, but maybe that's Ash and Sand. Oh, maybe that's fucking Malazan. I don't fucking know. Jesus Christ. Yep, there you go. Karsa's Malazan. Yep. I was like, oh, we've been talking about fucking Malazan, so duh. My head's all over the place. Aaron G says Esselmont did 4 prequel tie-ins to the Malazan, and I'm trying to think if I know anybody that's read those. I think Philip is somebody who's read those. All right, Mark. If you like Zoller books, check out the Magpie Coffin, part of the Splatter Western series. If you haven't already, I think I have it. I'm pretty sure I have like 2 Splatter Western books, and I'm pretty sure the Magpie Coffin is one of them. And I do like Zoller's books. He's really pushed me on this last one. I've really realized sometimes this is the thing I kind of do like about being disturbed or just fucking dark shit, because you kind of realize your own limits, or just like where you think maybe you're like nothing can affect you, something all of a sudden does. And I realized this about myself is like I tend to have a fucking hard time with like torture or violence against women, especially like when it's in a like when it's in a fucking like confined area, like a imprisonment kind of setting. It just fucks with me. It fucks with me, which is good. I mean, like that means like you've really, you got to me. It takes talent to do that. You can't just put like fucking horrible shit on a page, just like fucking whatever, oh, this is just, it's fucked up, so we're putting it in. It's still got to be able to have like kind of tie into where it hits you. And even though like he hits you right out the gate, so you don't have a whole lot of context, but he also manages to capture that atmosphere of that like kind of confinement, and makes my fucking skin crawl. Which is like, well, I know I was just thinking that might sound bad, but it's like, Zoller has an uncompromising style, and I think I will probably always applaud him for that. I dig it when people go there, especially with fiction. It's like that's the one place where we're the safest to go fucking far beyond, into those horrible places. I'd rather it be done in fiction than in reality. All right. Barry says, have you read any of the Dresden Files? I just started that series. So, Barry, no, I haven't read any Dresden. What I chose to pick up was a series called Sandman Slim. And I actually really want to get back into that series. It's a lot like Dresden, but think of it more like kind of grimdark version. I mean, where the guy is, where the main character is like, he's a lot like Harry Dresden, except for he's like just made his escape from hell. He's like a hitman down in there's a lot of beats going on in Dresden that you'll see happening in Sandman Slim, but Sandman Slim is hyper. It's just extreme, and it's exaggerated in the best ways. The sense of humor is like, it's got a twisted sense of humor, but it's not that twisted. They're fucking lightning fast books. Very enjoyable reads. Can't really like recommend Sandman Slim enough, especially if you like that style. Like it's almost like a noir style fantasy. Like pulpy, fucking good. They're fucking good. They don't really it's a story that doesn't take itself too seriously. but seriously enough for it to not be a complete fucking joke. It's just this right amount of both. It's a punk rock. It's like a punk rock version of fucking Dresden, really. Well read, well known says Carson Orlong is Malazan. And he's such a good character. I hated him until I loved him, and it was that sudden. Yeah, you know what? I love if an author can make me hate someone, and then turn the tables. If you can make me hate, it's not like I don't normally hate that many characters. Even the pieces of shit, I'm like more interested. I'm like, all right, well, where's this fucking asshole taking this? You know. But every once in a while, it's just the way that the author sets the scene, or maybe something that happens like previously that just makes me go, fuck this guy, you know, fuck this dude. And then by the end of the book, I'm like, so on board of their personal journey that it's insane. Like I'm totally rooting for them. They're my favorite person in the book, and it blows me away. I love that kind of character development. That was kind of what Thomas was for me in Between Two Fires. That's why one of the many reasons I really fucking speak so highly about that book. I didn't finish Midnight Mass yet. No, I had because I started watching Interview with the Vampire. And guys, I also fucking started watching this Western TV show. Is it 1886? I think is what it's called. I guess it's like a spin-off show from Yellowstone. I just watched episode 1 last night. That shit is fucking good. If you like Westerns, watch this shit. I was like just Sam Elliott is so fucking good. And there's a scene in there where he's like kind of like in this bar just hanging out or whatever, and fucking some shit goes down, whatever, and somebody tries to confront him, and he fucking jumps up out of his seat, and he's got his fucking gun, and he's just like, you know why I'm here? I'm looking for a reason. Do you want to be my reason? And it's just, and like the guy's like, no, I don't. He's like, to get the fuck out of my way. And it was emotional, like impacted, really fucking good. And this is just one little scene out of a string of a bunch of awesome scenes. I'm super hyped. This might end up being one of my favorite shows. I think it's 1886. If you like Westerns, and you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a fucking disservice. It is fucking good. It's not like, oh, it's good because I like these wild. Like I think that this is one of those shows that whoever watches it is going to have something good to say about it. It's really written, like filmed, everything. Super surprising, you know. And it's like a Paramount fucking production or whatever. So it feels like something that you would see on HBO. And who doesn't love Sam Elliott? Ruda Hansa. This is great to hear that you consider Unholy Consort a great ending when we are apparently not getting the No God. Yeah, so like this is crazy because we're so far like just within this fucking stream of hearing that the Baker has released that he's working on it. And I just, if you guys have like read the books, by all means go check out that discussion I have with Madness, because you got to understand, like if anybody was going to know what the fuck's going down, I would think it would kind of be him, you know, except for maybe Baker's immediate fucking family and like his like editor or whatever, you know, like those like people that immediately work around him. But as far as like fans and shit, like I just imagine Madness would know what's going on because he already knows. He's beta read some of his books, like he already know. Like Baker's already told him like the directions that he can go and like some stuff that has been created for, you know what I mean? So it's one of those weird deals. Of course, I want more, but if it never happened, there's this part of me, big part of me now that's just like, all right, that's cool, man. Fucking, and I would love to talk about it with everybody that finishes that book. Just go. One of the beauties of, you know, of that book, as just well as that series, is it leaves so much for readers to talk about. Which is better, Prince of Nothing or Unholy Consult? Well, I'm guessing you mean kind of like which is better, like the Prince of Nothing trilogy or the Aspect Emperor series. Personally, I think I like the Aspect Emperor series more, but it was just because it continued to go down this road that I'd never seen anybody go down, which is really crazy because Prince of Nothing is just a fucking masterpiece to me. So it's I don't know, it's crazy, but I just because of really the White Luck Warrior and then going into the Great Ordeal and then capping it off with the Unholy Consult. When I read those, it fucking it like it was like it life changing. So was kind of Prince of Nothing, but like by the end of all the books, I felt like my soul had been blasted out of my body. You know what I mean? It was just insane, and it's an insane experience. I feel like my camera is just nonstop trying to focus. Sam Elliott is legendary. Yes, he is, Aaron. He is. What is your favorite individual book of all Michael R. Fletcher's books beyond Redemption? It's just so it's just so serious. I think to me it's like the most serious book he's written. It's still got plenty of humor, twisted black humor in there, you know. There is something about it that is very epic, still very serious. Um and I think a lot of people will be surprised because, so, like, I know there are people that are just like me that really wanted to read that book, but maybe put it a little bit off because they knew it was like probably just this wacky, zany, fucking grimdark ride. You know, guys, it's like some of the best dark fantasy I've read. It's the fucking concepts, the characters, everything are like it's all compelling. It's all original. It's just impressive as all fuck. So yeah, Beyond Redemption without a doubt. I mean, it's I can't say that Michael Fletcher will never top that for me. But it's a tough one for him to top. And it's not like I've been disappointed with every book ever said. Like I love The Mirror's Truth. You know what I mean? I love Obsidian Path series. The City of Sacrifice series, fucking dope shit. But if we got to make a pick, right? They all must suffer for one to strive. Beyond Redemption is my pick for sure. DH only read the first, and where I'm at in the UK finding it's difficult to get my hands on. So wondering if it's a must. Oh, trying to get your hands on the Unholy Consult or maybe even the Great Ordeal. The Great Ordeal, like all the Aspect Emperor books are much harder to get your hands on than Prince of Nothing. Now, let's just say this. Let's just say Big Mac over there was right, and Baker is writing right now, and he's going to pump out No God. Don't be surprised if maybe we start to get a new like edition or whatever of some of those books, because like the Great Ordeal is almost impossible to find in physical copy without going to like a used outlet or whatever. So I think it would be in their best interest to make those books like more available if you're going to finally pump out more in the world. That's my opinion. I would be it'd be a fucking mistake on the publisher's side to not put some books back out there in, before the new duology or whatever hit, if that happens. Look at this fucking. I wonder if I'm just too close to the camera. All I see is fuck. I feel like I'm in a Brian Lee Durfee video. I see the beard is coming back. Good, man. It would have been a dream to see Baker interviewed by you or on your BookTube live stream. Man, I would love to pick the guy's bird. I have to admit, like, it'd be very intimidating for me. It's one of those things like hard not to geek out, hard not to get like kind of starstruck, hard to not feel inferior would be a big one. For me, one of the main reasons that scares me about talking to that man is the fact that he just is so much more well-read, educated, everything than I am that it might, like, I fear that I just would sound like an idiot trying to talk to him or even understand him. But you know, fear is the mind killer, right, guys? So I realized this was like, if I ever had the shot, if I ever got the chance, the opportunity, to talk to him, interview, anything, I'm gonna take that shit. I will take it. What's going on, honey? My dog is. Do you need to go outside? Oh, she's hungry. We'll feed you in here in just a minute, honey. You just ate a little bit ago, anyway. She's just looking at me like, come on, dude. That wasn't enough. I need more. The Sci-Fi Rogue. It wasn't easy getting copies of Prince of Nothing here in Ireland. I had to opt for digital for Aspect Emperor. Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. This is one reason, another reason why I do kind of like to promote, I guess, Kindle digital reading. Not only because of my own experience being surprisingly fucking easy, but because of the access you will gain to books. It's really easy to find shit on, for your Kindle. So you might not be able to get the physical copies, but by all means, you can get all those Aspect Emperor, Prince of Nothing books on Kindle and stuff. So, but once again, it might also depend on where you're at, Jeremiah, just view it is interviewing Kellis. Yeah, just view it as interviewing Kellis. Jeremiah, yes. That is exactly how I perceive it. Like, I perceive it be like talking to a Dunye, where he's just got his fucking web of fucking whatever. It just I love that line of fucking Nayer says, like, if they had fucking faces with fingers, you'd cry for swords and fire, but they have souls with fingers, and that's what Baker fucking feels like. He feels like a soul with fingers coming after me. Jim Daniel. Hey, Mark, thanks to you. I picked up Prince of Nothing and just finished the trilogy and loved it. Baker is definitely on my top 5 now. Can't wait for Aspect Emperor. Fuck yeah, Jim. You know what I mean? Like, it's my favorite shit. The Second Apocalypse is my jam. It's really hard for me to think that something will ever dethrone it, but you never know. You know what I mean? That's how I was with Broken Empire for like 10 fucking years. And then Beyond Redemption and fucking Second Apocalypse came along and really stole the fucking show. And right now, but yeah, I mean, like, I guess that, I have to admit that there's a chance that maybe Malazan, maybe Martin, might have a way of stealing it from him, but I doubt it, just because it's so specific, my tastes and stuff, and really, like, the appreciation I guess I just have for, like, some of the decisions he made, though I might maybe like them in the moment. At the end, I was like, God damn it, this guy is just impressive. So yeah, man, I'm super stoked, and I like fucking buckle up for Aspect. I think that is where the second series, or I guess the Aspect Emperor series is, for me, where you're going to find out if you're, like, really into the Second Apocalypse, or if it's become something that you can't push further into, especially the last 2 books. They're fucking dark and disturbing. Angela says, oh, Mark, you don't sound like an idiot. I think it'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for your confidence, Angela. I think it's just that fear, there's, like, it's easy to get scared about shit. You know what I mean? Especially when you're like, you want it to be good. Like, man, I want this interview to be so good. And then you just end up like Chris Farley from fucking, what is it, from Saturday Night Live, where he was like, you remember when you did that thing? Yeah, that was awesome. Do I have a favorite sitcom, like Arrested Development or something? Every time anyone hits me with shows, I always like kind of like don't. And then like after this fucking live stream, I'm like, what about this show? God damn it. I'll tell you one thing. I was thinking about this. This might be super surprising. This is not like my favorite, but a show that really fucking I got into, like mostly because I wanted to was watching it with my wife. But I have to admit, like I fucking dug, especially the second season, was fucking Bridgerton. What the fuck? This fucking show had so much drama. It's so much fucking drama. I loved it, especially the second second season. The fucking ridiculous amount of like sexual tension between the main like characters. I just ate that shit up. It was crazy. I'm trying to think of something that yeah, we need to talk about Bridgerton. Yes. I am like, dude, I'm not ashamed to tell you guys, like, I fuck it. In the past, like when I was younger, I'd be really afraid to tell people shit like that, where it was like, I just need you to kind of see me as this guy. I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want to be myself. And however, that's up to you how you see me. It's out of my control. So I just want to be the guy who admits the things that he likes. You know what I mean? And stop hiding. It's because then you're just so uncomfortable in your own skin. You're kind of in a weird, you're like living a fucking like a deception towards yourself. And you're taking away from your chances to celebrate the things you love. So I got no problem admitting that. I'm trying to think of an actual cool fucking show. not some girl drama fucking show. I did love Arrested Development, like Tobias Fuke or whatever, and Job were some of my favorite characters. They are so fucking funny. I'll have to keep thinking about it. I'll come up with something. Where do you stand with First Law books? Is Abercrombie an auto read author for you? I don't know. I don't know if he is an auto read. He's somebody I want to read his shit. I've read the first trilogy and I've read the 3 standalones. I'm at that point. Everyone's telling me I got to read the short stories before I get into the next trilogy. And I got to admit, this is exactly what's hanging me up because I don't want to read the fucking short stories. I want to read the next. And everyone's like, well, you got to do it. I'm like, well, then I just won't do anything. I don't want to read any fucking short stories. Goddamn. So yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill with Abercrombie until I can get over the hill and fucking decide that I want to read some short stories, which doesn't feel like anytime soon, which sucks because that means I'm just putting off something that's probably badass. I've loved Joe Abercrombie. Like I have this like I've been known to criticize him almost like him and Glenn Cook are 2 authors that I probably fucking criticize the most. But that does not mean I don't like their shit. I don't really know. I don't know why it is. I always like, I think maybe it's because of his popularity. There's this part of me that wants to like dig deeper and find like something objective. Because it's what I hate is when an author gets so popular, it just becomes a fucking popularity contest with everything, you know, like this is one of my issues with Brandon Sanderson. I feel like if Brandon Sanderson wrote a horrible piece of shit, he's so popular, people are like, oh, it was a great book. Like, no, it wasn't. Like, you just are riding this dude's coattails that fucking, and I feel like Joe Abercrombie gets a lot of that. Like people just love him so much that they'll just tell you it's so phenomenal and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm like, there's things wrong with it. It's fucking good as fuck, but there's plenty wrong with it. If you overhype an author, I'm probably coming after him. People are like, he's not overhyped. He's hyped just the right amount. And maybe I do agree with you, you know. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't. I think it's because of the Blade itself. There's something that happened with the Blade itself that I think I got upset a little bit. And I've always been carrying that with me. Maybe I need to mature and grow the fuck up and give Joe the fucking pass. Samoki dude, how's it going? Here Jesus, Mark, you had a heart. I do. I have a big, massive heart. I just love watching it fucking weep. I love tragedy, and I do love a drama. You know, because when I was young, guys, this is some crazy shit. Is when my mom, when I grew up, like, who's no longer with us, but my mom growing up, man, she used to watch a lot of soap operas, like Days of Our Lives and shit. So when I was really little, like in the 80s, I watched that shit with her. And so like some of my very like first memories of watching television are soap operas. So that shit's kind of like in a strange way ingrained in me. There's a thing, as much as I don't like drama in real life, I really like watching it portrayed in books and in TV and stuff. I guess there's like to some extent, like the what is it like the reality TV style drama? Not really into. I mean, I'm not saying you can't script it to my liking, but the most of the time I don't really dig it. Oh man, Mark, I recommend Ghost of Tsushima, Feudal Japan historical RPG. That game looks so fucking good. I really want to play it. I have like you can see, I got this fucking PlayStation down here, and it is fucked. It doesn't play discs anymore. I can only like download shit, and I'm kind of afraid to even like spend the money. Well, I guess it's on my account. It's not on my physical thing, right? So if I buy a new PlayStation, I'll still have the game. I think that's how it works. Yeah, but anyway, I've just been kind of hesitant to spend any fucking money on games or anything when I have such a shitty fucking PlayStation. I guess I could probably play it on computer though too. That's the last thing I want to do though. Fucking computer. Ugh, get lost. Kern says I would read the last story, which is the Bloody Nine back before First Law started. I thought you would love it. Okay, I do love me some Bloody Nine. Angela says she feels the same way about popular overhyped authors. I also tend to criticize Abercrombie, even though I enjoy his books, minus Red Country. Yeah, and I like that. I'm just right there with you, Angela. It's this thing that happens when I see this. I'm not saying it's not genuine praise. Like these people aren't like they're lying through their fucking teeth or anything. But like I said, when it becomes this popularity thing, you're just so on board with it that you're kind of not going to pay attention to some of the maybe not so shiny aspects. And so then when you convey like anything about their books, all you're giving other readers is how fucking phenomenal they are with nothing to prepare them for the bumps in the road that they are going to experience during those books. So I think it's important to be objective, especially when it comes to popular authors. You should I mean, as a reviewer, this is my take on it. You should try to be objective with everybody. I mean, that's the thing. Like you're trying to not just give some like weird biased opinion or whatever. And I'm guilty of that. Like I'll tell people though too, is like, look, my enjoyment is like really what makes this book better. It might not be the writing, but the way my experience makes it a fucking 5-star ride, kind of deal. Ghost of Tsushima is so good. Yes, that's what I want to hear because eventually I'm going to get around to playing it. Guys, with me in video games, we have just a weird relationship. I grew up in the 80s, so I watched, going from Atari to Nintendo to Super Nintendo and Sega and all that shit. Love video games, love them. But I'm at a place in my life where when I approach a video game, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice some of my life, for this thing for a minute, and I play the fuck out of it. I play it like obsessively. And then when I'm done and I walk away. But the thing is, so if I get into a video game, especially right now, I'm going to stop writing. I'm going to stop reading. I'm going to stop doing fucking everything just to do the video game. It's just how I am. Very obsessive person. Oh, so some Okie dude says, I just read The Blade itself this year and I thought it was really good. Felt like a setup book, but it was very well done with what it had. Yeah, and it is very much the setup. It's the beginning of the story. The 3 books are the one story. So it's like book 1 is just the first couple chapters. Just it's like a fucking prologue almost. But I didn't know really about that when I jumped into those books. The only thing I knew was that they were being heralded as #1 grimdark books. And when I read book 1, I'm like, well, what the fuck is this? Besides the Bloody Nine appearance, you basically got a fucking drug out story with a fencing tournament. And like, I don't see where the dark and dastardly bits were. Like, how the fuck is this #1 grimdark? that threw me off. But but if I would have went directly into book 2, I would have started to understand where everybody was, excited about him and all that. Jim Daniels says he thinks he's the in the minority that loved Red Country. See, I liked Red Country. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was one of the first like slower reads that I enjoyed. That not being like a slow burn. It just was kind of a slow paced story, man. Like, and I know people will argue with me, but to me it was slow. But that didn't necessarily make it bad. It gave me the time to hang out with certain characters that I really enjoyed. I want to say that's because maybe I'm wrong, but that's where Temple, right? Like Temple and Shy were in that one, and I really liked them. Aaron G says Ghost of Tsushima is only PS4 and PS5. Might be get a PC port within the next year or two. Okay, so it is play. I love PlayStation, so I mean, I wanted to buy a new one, but they're just like impossible to find. Can't find a fucking is it PS5, right? At least not here in Alaska. If they ever hit a store, they'd be gone the second they hit the fucking shelf. So I just got to this point because I really wanted to buy one for Elden Ring. I was excited about Elden Ring, fucking, whatever, the year, 2 years before it even came out. And now it's come out, it's been out, and I haven't even fucking touched it. Curran says, Jim Daniel, I loved it. Didn't love the heroes. Found it boring as fuck. I was actually surprised at the heroes because I know that the heroes gets a lot of love. So I was a little surprised. My favorite of the standalones was Best Served Cold. I thought that thing was fucking just fire, dude. The pacing, the character work, the story, it all worked for me. Like, this is where I was like, fucking Joe Abercrombie, man. Like, I don't know if I did have much to criticize. Like, he really got the claps for me, but the heroes, there was things that really grained at me, especially what the fuck was her name? Finry. I fucking hate that character. I love Gorth. Gorth was the shit. And I understand that his like mental monologuing or whatever is disturbing as fuck, but dude, I just like kind of enjoyed that. I enjoyed that this dude was fucking unhinged. Loved it. Rudahon's the hardest and favorite Elden Ring boss? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I haven't played it. Like I said, if I play it, you guys just won't see me, and I really do want to play it, but I just understand what kind of person I am. I'm that obsessive that I really will just disappear. This is exactly what happened with Scum. When I started playing Scum, guess what? You guys didn't see me for like 2 months, and I just don't want to do it again because I also don't want to do it to my family. I realize like how much those things like take from me, which entail like takes away from my family. Like my kids they lose time out. My wife obviously fucking hates video games because because of how I will get. Don't even approach her about Scum Island. She'll tell you to fucking kill the fucking creators. Yeah, but I mean, I will get to it. I just need to get to a point where I can step away from the things I'm doing. Right now I don't feel like stepping away from what I'm doing. I like reading and writing and doing this. Josh Meyer, hey, just finished your Great Ordeal spoiler video. Thanks for being the reason I plow through each book to hear your explanations. 1 book to go. I'm excited. Hey, thanks, man. And because those things are kind of long. So for anyone that actually like watches those, thank you, because I understand I'm taking up a lot of your fucking time. And time is fucking precious because you don't get it back. So I just can't thank you guys enough for spending the time and watching that shit. I put a lot into it, and it's funny because after my reread, I realized like I kind of see some stuff differently, but I'm still really glad that those videos are out because I think that they will resonate really well with first time through the series. I'm actually contemplating like kicking around, like doing more content, just coming from a place of a reread. But I'm glad that you're going through those books. And if you're through the Great Ordeal, And especially if you're like especially if you dig like the direction and how dark it's getting, buckle up. It's gonna get better in the dark and dastardly way. It might make you put the book down even. Some okie dude. I love Glocka. He was really easily my favorite character in the book. He's basically a sociopathic version of House. Ah! That's a good show. I liked House. Except for it did seem to kind of get formulaic after a minute. It was like, okay, someone's going to come into the hospital. He's going to get misdiagnosed. And then they're going to have to do back to the drawing board and then re-diagnose them and figure out the actual problem, But either way, I really dug that show too. I liked, is it Hugh Laurie or whatever, the actor? I thought he just was really cool. Like, just a smart ass, Oh, Ruta says, any updates about your book? I am plugging away and just going super fucking slow. I finally finished a chat. Like, for those that don't know, I lost a bunch of my story when my last laptop fucking got fried. So there's several chapters I have to rewrite. Now, going back, because this is like, I'm just writing this thing from the seat of my pants. So the chapter I just finished, rewrote, is vastly different from the one that was written before. So not only I've noticed this is my writing style has changed somewhere along over that break for the better, but my speed has decreased at such a snail's pace. I'm getting like a couple paragraphs in, maybe in a week, dude, where I was obsessively going after it. So I was getting a lot done before, where now it's taking me a long time. And I don't want to I just don't want to rush anything. I don't want to fucking try to push myself too hard. I want to let everything kind of fall in place as it's kind of happening right now, because I do dig what I'm writing. I think it's kind of blowing me away to the point where I'm also going to go back and I'm probably going to rewrite everything. So I got a ways to go. But the cool thing is the more and more I'm at it, the more and more I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know what's going to happen. And so, yeah, might take me long to write it in the manner that I want it to be written. But I think in the end, I'll be happy with it, and that's ultimately what I'm doing is I started this whole deal really for me. Was like, oh, I'm going to get famous and be an author. I don't even think I'm going to even try to fucking attempt to get published. I'll probably just, self-pub it and fucking be done and see how what people think about it, and if it does do well, I will continue that journey. But for right now, I'm just I'm having a lot of fun. The last two or 3 days, I haven't written anything because I just got to this point where I'm like, for whatever reason, I'm just hit a little bit of a block, and I want to really think about this specific scenario before I just blast it out and go. And I know that that's probably the right way to do it, is just keep writing, just write, then come back and edit. But I'm having a hard time just doing that. I'm more I want to fucking play it all out in my head. Fucking, I don't know. I'm not a writer, so I'm probably taking the best approach or techniques. I'm just doing what feels right in the moment. And I'll tell you, man, when once I start getting closer and closer, I will definitely be updating people, because once I get close to the end, I'm gonna need beta readers, guys. So people that are interested in beta reading for me, you know what I mean? And I just want an honest opinion. I don't need any yes men. I'd rather hopefully you don't fucking beat me up too bad, but that's what I need honest opinions. I need people that are good with proofreading and shit like that. I'm gonna need all of it, and I'm gonna be leaning probably heavily on you guys. I'm as much as I can, you know what I mean? Because I'd rather not have to try to spend a fuck ton of money to get a book out. Dr. Puffin Stuff, what's going on? I thought Baker took his semi-autobiography, Lifetime and Gravity, off the internet, but I found part 2 and part 3 of his blog. If I can't find part 1 somewhere, I'm hoping to read it soon. Cool. Some Okie dude planning to read any more S. Craig Zoller. I know you reviewed Congregation of Jackals on here. Yeah, so right now I do have Wraiths of Broken Land on my Kindle. Like that's what's like I'm reading on my Kindle. I'm just like I'm dragging my feet because he really got me good. So I just was like, ugh. And then I started reading Dune Messiah, which I finished, and then I started reading Interview with the Vampire, which I'm already blown halfway through that one. So more than likely, once I finish Interview, I'll probably be back, like try to full time do Race of Broken Land and just get it knocked out. Whether it makes me fucking, feel bad or not. Let's see. Mark, I'm curious to hear your opinion on GGK. This is okay. So I've tried Tigana and DNF'd it 100 pages in. I might try another one in the future, though. Okay, so Jim, I only really know Guy Gavriel's work from the Silmarillion, but he's somebody I really want to get into. I've picked up some Finnevar stuff. I have Tigana, and I also picked up The Brightness long ago. I think I might even got Lions of Al Rasan. So one thing I will say this, I wanted to jump into Tigana, but I have heard from Guy Gavriel K readers that it's not necessarily the best place to start. So where is the best place to start? I don't know, but I am really, really excited to get into Guy Gavriel K's stuff. Zara really speaks highly of A Brightness. I think it's A Brightness long ago or something like that. And the Lions of Al Rasan sounds really fucking awesome. So I think that might be where I start. Either that or I might just start straight up into the Finnevar tapestry, which I've heard is like, it's kind of an ode to Tolkien, but also its own thing and a little bit more like mature themed or something. Josh Meyer says, I'm stoked. I went to Reddit because the Baker Forum, chapter 12 explained to me because I was lost with the non-men pit. Yeah, that's a fucking very hard thing to kind of like to grasp, to like see in your mind. I got really lost in the Weeping Mountain myself. The boat, man, yeah, it's all that stuff. It's so heavy, and it's kind of just, I don't know if it like Baker does the best job of really giving you the scenery. You know what I mean? Like, because he's hitting you with such introspective stuff that maybe the scenery kind of slips by. But there's sometimes where he just can set a scene like no other. It's just in that book. And I kind of wonder if there was some editing deals. I want to say I've heard something about editing. But yeah, it's the most confusing part. I think that and the survivors kind of like mental monologuing and about the absolute. Those two deals were really tough for me. Oh, when are you going to read us a chapter live from your book? I don't know, man. I could probably not too much longer. The thing is I might want to just go back and rewrite one of the early ones, because it seems like I'd rather read you like the shit I'm writing now, but it would seem crazy to read you chapter 5, to read you chapter 6. You know what I mean? Like to read you something from the fucking middle of the book. You know? It would be a little crazy. So we'll see. I mean, as soon as I can, I will, because I'm looking for feedback. I don't just assume that what I'm writing is awesome, amazing, and that I'm right in every which way. I think it's very smart to listen to other people, because someone might point something out and I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't even think of that. Thank you. Have I read for The Traitor God by Cameron Johnston? I have, and I am very interested in picking that up. I've heard good things. I read Cameron Johnston's Maleficent 7 and fucking loved that book. I think pretty sure, like, I don't really give star ratings. I think I would have given that book like a 4.5 stars. It was just like a little bit below, 5 stars for me. A fun fucking ride. So yeah, the Traitor God series kind of becomes a little bit more enticing for me, for sure, after reading something of his. Angela says, just keep going at your own pace. It's great that you can see your own improvement. The writing process is individualized. Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, because you actively write something. Yeah. Like, I am right. Yeah, it's in that aspect I could say I'm a writer, because I am writing. But like a prestigious writer, no. But I'm trying, and I think that's where it all starts, right? I was just watching in a little interview about or like a documentary on Anne Rice and how she started. I got to fix my camera on the next one. It's driving me nuts. I'm looking over here at my tail and it's just in and out of focus. Fucking bonkers. Chadi says, I think there isn't one exact way to write. Yeah, there's not. Everyone has their own method. Just do what feels good to you. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's because ultimately it's especially if you're, kind of nobody, like me, like you should be having fun with it. Like, I don't know if you like treating it like a job when it's not even your job yet is a good idea. Like, there's plenty of time for that to come later down the road if you decide to take up the fucking, career of writing. I think that first book, that first story, it's kind of important to be a lot of like what you like, what you love, like having a good time. Like, so Moki Dude says Race of Broken Land is excellent. So, yeah. Okay, so dude, like how that book starts out. And it's just yeah, the fucking it's hard. It was hard for me to read, but I mean, I haven't got super far into it. But I'm going to be finishing that bad boy. And like I said, it's an uncompromising tale. Like, and I can't applaud Zoller enough for that. I usually like I hate it when it feels like a story should have been a little bit more violent, a little bit more darker, and not because of like for fun's sake, but just out of like more realistic circumstances, and it's just not there. I hate that shit. So I'd rather something be fucking uncompromising, taking me out of the story just with the dread of the moment more than fucking me having to like roll my eyes because it's just like, oh, this is a fucked up time period, and they're making it sound like daisies and roses. Says I ask my cousin what he thinks about an idea that I'm working on, and that's basically how I outline law. Yeah, I mean, really, like for me, I like the idea of coming up with an idea and then seeing how you can fucking run with it. You know what I mean? Like that, that's kind of how I'm not like a massive plotting kind of guy. Like I just like, hey, you know what would be cool? Well, fuck it, let's see how it goes. It seems like a cool idea. Let's explore it, Dune Messiah. Yes, dude. Oh, I loved it. I loved Dune Messiah. I liked it more than I liked Dune. The Sci-Fi Rogue says Lions of Alrazan is my favorite GGK book so far. So, Sci-Fi Rogue, would you say that the Lions of Alrazan is a good starting place for first-time Guy Gabriel K readers? I know his stuff can be dense, so there's really probably no like easy jumping in point. It might be some of the reason why some people don't get into his stuff because it's a little thick, but I just wonder like what people's opinions are, because I have heard a lot of people say that Tagana is not a good place to start, but I never really hear a lot of people say where you should start. Samoki Dude says didn't care for Dune. I love Dune. I really did. But I like Messiah more. I think Messiah kind of caters to that like more dark and bleak, depressing kind of story that I like. And there's not to say there isn't these consequences and stuff, but like to me, Messiah feels very more realistic than Dune. Like, and I'm not saying like Dune, like it's fucking sci-fi, it's fiction and stuff, but um some of the stuff that goes down in Dune just feels very much like a story, like where in Dune it feels a little bit more based in reality. I'm sorry, in Messiah it feels more based in reality, like just like the problems, the everything. I don't know. It just felt more real to me, and I loved like them bringing back. I don't want to spoil anything. They kind of in a way they bring back a character, and I just love how the relationship with that character and the other, characters really fucking good, man. And I really like Aaliyah, like the sister. And I just couldn't stop seeing a lot of parallels between Baker stuff and Dune or Messiah. Like the fucking Atreides family really just reminds me of Dune Yang. Or I guess that's Benny Gesserit are kind of like the fucking Dune Yang. Chadia, yeah, halfway through Messiah. I don't know if I like it yet. I love Dune. So Chadia, I would say usually I see people not really giving Messiah a whole lot of love. Most people seem to put it on the bottom. That's why I was so blown away because I was like, what the fuck? Why is everyone saying like they don't like this book? I fucking love this book. But like once again, everything, is going to hit everyone differently. So some things are just a little bit more catered to like specifically to certain readers. And I just think the like kind of deconstruction of Paul that happens within that book as far as being a hero, you know what I mean, is fucking awesome. Sorry if you have answered this before. How do you stay so thin? Stress. That and probably genes, I guess. You know what I mean? Like my mom was really skinny and I think I took after her because like a lot of people in my family are bigger, I'm really short and thin for my family. So it's real weird. It's really weird because my brother and I look a lot alike. At least people always told us this, it's like as brothers, we're always like, no, we don't, but it's real weird because he's so tall. He's so tall now, like as older, sometimes we get older, we get put on some weight. And my brother's definitely a bit heavier than he was, when we were kids. So it's like looking at a big, tall version of me. My brother's is a gem. I love that guy. He's like, I wouldn't even be into fucking fantasy. Well, maybe I would, but he really helped guide me as a young kid, like into like nerdy shit. And I fucking can't thank him enough for it. And this is one of those things, like I was mentioning earlier, like where I hid like the things I at one point in my life, I really like kind of like stopped like admitting that I liked nerdy shit. I was like, oh no, I'm just like into fucking punk rock and shit, like trying to be hard. Nah, man, I have such a fucking vast love for fantasy and fiction. Ugh, I'll never deny it again. So yeah, like I said, I don't really have like I don't die. I eat like shit. I used to go to the gym and I a long time ago, like many years ago, I was into like like MMA, like fighting. So I trained and shit like for years. So that probably did a lot of good for my body, you know what I mean? Just because it built so like muscles, especially core muscles. That I felt like I never lost. It just got myself in like a certain amount of shape, but it also taught me how to diet. So whenever I decided to go back to the gym, I knew how to diet. I knew how to do everything correct. Um, but funny enough, I guess, I fall off and I don't really gain a whole lot of weight. I just seem to stay thin, but I do carry around a lot of stress. I am a fucking stress case. Some Okie dude says, perhaps you'd enjoy Perdido Street Station. It's strange, dark, grungy fantasy series. So I have it. I like got into it just a tiny bit and I just wasn't clicking yet, but I know I'm gonna like it. I really like Jeff Vandermeer's stuff, and I know they're both like weird science kind of shit. And the one thing that really grabs me and makes me want to get into that is because one thing everybody talks about is how like the setting is so grimy and dark, and I love that, and I want to like peel that back and get into it. But I'm not there yet, but I think I'm gonna dig it once I finally complete it. Jim Daniel says Dune didn't click for me, sadly, but I appreciate the world building philosophy within it. Yeah, and that's it. Once again, not everything's gonna hit everybody. And I could definitely see where Dune doesn't like do it for everybody. Even like Herbert's, like his ideas and stuff are really fucking awesome, but you might not like his writing style. The guy was like a journalist before he was a writer, or like, like an author. So he still takes like a very journalistic approach to storytelling. And he'll do like info dumping and shit like that. And some people just don't like it. Where are we at? Jim Daniel. Oh no, that was it. Your Dune didn't click. Smoky dude. In an ugly, unpleasant book, that's for sure. It gets really dark. Yeah, I'm really interested in reading it. I've also heard like the guy just can write his ass off. Like if he tells you about anything, he spends 2 pages going off about it. Aaron G, still reading Dune. So far, so good on the first part of book 1. So I'm gonna tell you, Aaron, if once you make it past, I think it's the first part. That's like the most boring part of that book to me. And then you start really kind of getting into like the Fremen culture and stuff. I found it fascinating. So that's why I really dug in after like the first little bit. Jim Daniel, can Beyond Redemption be read as a standalone? Yes, in a way. I mean, you don't have to continue. I think there will be things that will be like kind of threads left open, obviously, because the series does continue, but it's somewhat self-contained. It's a strange ending, and like if you read it, you might be like, well, how do you consider that like a standalone? The thing is guys, there's plenty of people that have read the book and didn't know it was a series. That's why I kind of feel comfortable saying that. There's a lot of people that just think Beyond Redemption is a standalone. They don't realize that there's the Mirror's Truth, that there's like a spin-off story called Swarm and Steel, and then there's a third like core series book coming down the pipeline that's going to be co-written with Michael Fletcher and Clayton Snyder. I found that out. That's pretty cool. But yes, by all means, you could read Beyond Redemption and walk away. I think in a way too, that would, like, if you haven't read a shit ton of Grimdark, that ending specifically might kind of condition you and get you ready for a lot of like endings that are hard to swallow. I think like the ending of the first Law trilogy can be like painful for some people. But the more and more kind of stories like this you consume that don't have happy endings or just are kind of fucked up stories, you just really fall in line for the next one you read. Chadia, Jake Bishop has a video about where to start with GGK. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's like super into him, huh? I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Jake, but I think I just bit my fucking lip. I've seen him on Jimmy's stuff. I want to say maybe I saw him on Alan's too. I don't fucking man. I've watched so much YouTube, it all blends together sometimes. But yeah, so maybe I'll have to go check that out. Smoky Dude says, I have Beyond Redemption, which I would like to read. Looks like a book I would really dig. It is fucking awesome, man. It's really cool. The like premise of the world building and the magic system are really intertwined because of this whole belief shapes reality kind of concept. It's so very compelling. And just thinking about some of these powers, you could just sit there and think for hours about like how these things could really unfold themselves. And there are consequences to the power. So it's not even a soft magic system. Like there are people that's like, there's like, I think it's called hitting the pinnacle, like where your powers are at their fucking most, like their highest ability, but that's also when you're the closest to death. Like there's just so much cool shit about that. And it's got really cool characters like Witch Tig and Gurn are some of my favorite dark fantasy characters, period. Jim Hassett sounds like a cool brother. He was the one thing about my brother I love so much was he just was a really nice guy. Yeah, we fought and shit time to time, but like when it all boiled down to it, it's hard for me to think of a nicer guy than my brother. It blows me away. Sometimes I think it kind of made me irritated because it was like, man, why can't you just be a little more fucked up like me? That way I don't feel so bad about being fucked up. Why don't you come down here and wade in the filth with me, brother? Punk rock can be nerdy too. Fugazi guys are basically nerds. Yeah, and that's fucking true. Same with kind of what was it? The Descendants was their little like the Milo mascot was totally like looked like a nerd. Have you previously gone through Pierce Brown's Red Rising series? Those books are bonding material for my bro and I. Pierce is working on the last 2 books right now. So no, Josh, I haven't read those yet, but I own the first one and I will be getting into it. Like I was asked this earlier. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get into Christopher Rocchio's books, and then maybe after that I'll probably do this Pierce Brown run. Aaron G. Mark reminds me of a coworker named Keith, a super cool ass dude. Feel you two would be awesome talking together. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll talk to Keith. Send him on my way. We're fucking bullshit. Stress cage. Some okie dude. I love Vandermeer as well. Born's a masterpiece. Yeah, my buddy Noah gave me that book and I read it and I really dug it. I will have to say, like, Annihilation blew me away. It had this like atmosphere that really captured me, pulled me in, and that story was very compelling and just thought provoking. I couldn't stop thinking about Area X, and especially being in Alaska, I live around a lot of like just wildlife and land and everything, and I'd be walking through a park or just in the woods or whatever, and it just like taking a shortcut somewhere, and you'd look at trees and bushes and shit, and I just start thinking about like fractal shit and all this craziness and the crawler. Oh man, cool stuff. I love New Crobazon myself. Jeremiah M. I used to be very stressed all the time as well. As I get older, I realize that things will be okay. Everything will work out. Things will be okay. Yeah, that's a good thing, like kind of mantra to have. Like I definitely have to tell myself that, like just like, dude, just chill, breathe. Like it's gonna be all right. Like it's just a fucking moment. Like let it pass and let's get on with our shit. Let's do it. One thing I've noticed, especially about getting older, though, too, is like the other thing why it's kind of important not to stress about that shit is because as soon as you if it's an issue, guess what? You're going to resolve it eventually. And when you do resolve it, there's going to be another issue because that's life. It's a series of all kinds of things. And part of that is issues, like things that are going to be thrown at you and you'll have to fucking get over the hurdles. So don't spend too much time dwelling on a specific stress because you got plenty more coming down the road. All right, let me scroll down real quick. I don't mean to skip, guys. I'm getting super behind here. Okay. I'll try to kind of go up one. I want to read Beyond Redemption, but I want to take a break from fantasy after I complete the Iron Council. Yeah, sometimes it's good to take a break. Like if you feel like you've just kind of overdone a genre, I'm big believer in taking a step back. That's why I love that. Like I'm glad that I love Westerns and I love sci-fi. So when I kind of peak out with my grimdark or fantasy, I can easily just kind of peruse down to fucking sci-fi lane or fucking, Western Avenue and have a good old time. And when I'm done fucking shooting up the corral, I can come back to Fantasyland. Jeremiah says, I agree with you about Dune Messiah. The weirdness is amped up with the cyborg ghouls. Yes, dude. And the whole idea the hero leader is put into question. Yep. Power corrupts, even Paul. Yeah. And it's like, even no matter what. And I love that he's the prescience, right? Like, so he's like, they're like him and his sister, like, are always just like, it reminds me so much of like the thousandfold thought shit, even though this came well before. But it's just in the order that I read books, but just no matter what, like he's just stepping in and out of all the fucking possibilities. And it's just like, can you imagine that? Like being able to see all the possibilities, and you're trying to prevent this one, but every possibility just kind of keeps showing you the inevitable. There's just some really good stuff. I think, and you could say that there's like, themes in there like deep as fuck. Like, what is it to be human? You know what I mean? Especially when you start dealing with the Golas. Smokey says, "Oh man, wait till the end of Perdido Street Station. Looks very Western inspired to me." Mr. Papadopoulos, hi everybody. So, Mark, what's the most grimdark TV show besides Golden Girls? Nothing can beat the Golden Girls. I still think one day I might try to attempt to write a story about Golden Girls, but make it a grimdark story, like the Grimdark Girls. I love the fucking Golden Girls. But the most grimdark TV show, it's tough. I think that The Boys is a good example because it's like a grimdark superhero show. It's flipped the tropes, right? And it's hyper as all fuck. It's violent as shit. It's unforgiving. It's very much all in line with what I see grimdark to be. And that's a tough one to beat. If you're just looking for like the grimdark style violence, man, it's tough. I think The Kingdom was really good. The Last Kingdom has some of that in it, though it kind of falls back in line with kind of like regular style, medieval battles and stuff too. I mean, at that point, you'd have to say that Braveheart's grimdark, which, let's face it, there are some pretty gnarly parts. But it's tough. It's tough. Like what kind of grimdark show, I guess, is what I would kind of. Are you looking for all around grimdark or more like grimdark violence? I will say this, as far as like something that would take place in our own world, the best grimdark like reality grimdark show is fucking Gangs of London. That shit is fucking, everybody's a bad guy. The people you think are good are not good. They're all like powerful, criminals. So this criminal underworld is packed full of the most like the horrible shit of fucking society, like it's the ugly shit, and they are not afraid to go there. They fucking, you want to see some violence turned up to 11, go watch Gangs of London. It surprised the fuck out of me. I was like, what, and it continued to. I really can't wait. They're supposed to be putting out another season of that, so I'm all in on that show. Peaky Blinders, dude, that's a good show, and you might be able to say that's kind of falls in line with grimdark. Maybe not like super heavy grimdark, but definitely if you're looking at, like kind of anti-heroes, at least fucking morally gray characters, because I want to say Thomas Piety, but that's Priest of Bones. But still, his name's Thomas, right? Like their whole fucking family, they're all criminals, charismatic criminals. I'll try to keep thinking of some more though. But there's several shows I would say fall under the wide umbrella of grimdark. But the one that makes me like really is The Boys. It's a grimdark superhero show for sure. If you want Western grimdark manga, check out Green Blood. Only 5 volumes, solid all the way through. Total excellent art too. Nice. I didn't even really think about that. Like a Western manga, that's dope. I do like that. Breaking Bad is a good one. Yeah, that's great. That's a great example too. Just because Walter White, this is a great example of like the grimdark story that takes like an honest person and gives them a fucking shitty circumstances, and then we watch them kind of make the wrong decisions because of the shitty circumstance. That could be like, some people like I said, the fucking umbrella of grimdark is so broad. A lot of things could technically fall into it. Shelby, thank you, Josh. Thank you. When that show first came out, I couldn't stop watching it, even though I could barely understand what the fuck they were saying. But I really dug it. And like the show's intro music, I fucking love that song. Sci-Fi Rogue says that you can start with Lions of Al Rasan. Man, I really want to reread that now. One of my favorite books of all year. Oh man, it's ever what I love Stranger Things. I'm totally on the hype train because the thing about Stranger Things that I really absolutely love is there's not many shows. There's no show, actually, There is no show that brings me, my son, and my wife all together on the same couch watching one thing together. That never fucking happens. So for a show to be able to capture, that like the family's interest, like is fucking awesome. And my son, like he's not like he's 16, so it's not like I'm not afraid of anything that fucking they're gonna throw at him. You know what I mean? He was a big like dude. I fucked up when I was raising him. He got introduced to Walking Dead like real young, really fucking young, like 5, 6. It became his favorite show. So I'm not really too afraid about throwing anything his way anyway, because I kind of fucked up in that aspect. But I am on the hype train for Stranger Things. I think some of the character development is really good. I feel like they're dropping the ball in some areas. I really like Will's character, and this last season like really hit us with that emotional side. They're definitely implying some things. There's some subtext there. It's like, and I guess I just dig how they're handling it. They're kind of handling it careful, which is good. A lot of times I like a fucking uncompromising approach, but this is something that I feel like needs to be handled a little careful. And I like the attention he gets from his brother, like when his brother really notices something is up with his brother. This kind of shit is very endearing, and it really hits heavy in a show that's also very much about like, the supernatural and everything. It's good that they have these heartfelt moments as well as the cool, flashy monster shit, To me, they connect on multiple levels, is why that show succeeds. As well as they're really good at staying true to a time period and inserting like legit, like 80s Easter egg stuff. And being a guy that was born in 81, I'm always impressed when people can like portray that era of the 80s, because a lot of times people get it wrong. They just throw shit tons of neon colors and fucking spandex or fucking big hair, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the 80s. And I'm like, that is the 80s, but it's also not. It's also kind of a caricature of the 80s, but the 80s were a character. Hold on one sec, guys. Give me 1 minute. One and two and three and four. All right. Sorry about that. So yes, Stranger Things hype train. Whoop whoop. The Sci-Fi Rogue, Love Hate was a great crime show set in Dublin. I'll have to check that out. Love Hate. Have you read Emberblade? I know it's not grimdark, but I recommend it. It's a very good book. I have not read Emberblade. This is the one by is it by Matthew Ward or somebody like that? I want to say I know. I've heard of this. And I've heard good things. And I'm also, guys, I'm kind of at a point too. Like I'm always going to be representing the dark and the dastardly, and that's the shit I like. But if things are like good, you know what I mean? They don't have to be blood and guts and dark fantasy. I do like other shit too. It's just much more far few between. Like you'll see me enjoy a lot of the darker shit a lot of the time. Where it's like these other ones, it's like specific. I get way more specific about what I like when it comes to those styles. I haven't watched The Walking Dead Dead since season 7. I'm trying to remember what happened in that one, but I'll tell you, like, personally, my son loves the fucking show, so that's why I got into it. And at first, because I had watched the first like season, and then I just didn't fucking watch it. And then my son was all about it. And years later, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch a show so I can kind of like enjoy it with my sons. But I had to catch up, so I got like 5 fucking seasons or 6 seasons to watch. Um, that show went from being like good to being like one of the best fucking shows I had watched in a long time to then falling off. So if you haven't watched anything since season 7, if it's the season I'm thinking of, like where they kind of introduced Negan, like once Negan got introduced, like that won't, like we all know the fucking when he's got them all around the circle with the fucking Lucille bat and he's playing Eeny Meeny Miny Mo or whatever the fuck. That is amazing. And that's, in a way, that was where like the show peaked, in my opinion. And so that next following deal where we pick up with that event, it all started to kind of go downhill from there. So I personally, you watch the best parts, if you ask me. Some Okie dude says, I want to hug Will and tell him it's okay. So do I. So do I. And that's one of the many reasons I think the show is good, because it's like if you're making me care about a fictional character to where I want to wrap my arms around him and tell him it's going to be all right, you're doing something right. You're doing something good. You're getting me engaged and invested. Chris Wooding, yes, or is it? Yeah, yep. Okay, cool. I'm on season 4 now, and each episode is movie long, hour, 20 minutes or long or longer. Are you talking about Stranger Things? Like like the newest stuff, like especially like that second part of the season or whatever. Like there's like only 2 episodes or something like that, and they were pretty fucking long. But enjoyable as all hell. And I really loved Eddie. The new character Eddie was fucking such an awesome addition to the show. The actor was really fucking good. And I'm not trying to really spoil anything. I'm just saying uh the Dungeons and Dragons stuff that they really do as far as like with Eddie and how it shows him like DMing and like just the way that the kids are all enjoying themselves. I really love this because I do feel like that's how sometimes D&D sessions can go, like where you're just like the table is tense and it's down to these fucking like couple rolls and everyone's like, oh fuck. And if it does go through, it's just this huge celebration moment, and I just loved that. It brought me back, and that's something that like Stranger Things has done also. It's just like it's kind of like a blast from the past for people like me, and I appreciate that. Have I read Illborn yet? Not come across your review. No, what? I have not read Illborn. What is it? A standalone? Who wrote Illborn? Aaron G. Emberblade is Chris Wooding. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Because I was trying to remember who the hell. Isn't Emberblade like a big ass door stopper? Isn't it like a fucking 1,000-page book or something? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Or maybe I'm once again thinking of the one book that Matthew Ward wrote. Robin Hobb? Question mark. So if you're asking me if I've read Robin Hobb, no, I haven't. And earlier they were asking me about it. It's probably like, it's sad to say, but Robin Hobb's probably the one that's going to get the back burner. Like as far as all these authors I really want to get to, I want to get to Martin. I want to get to Erickson. I want to get to Kay probably before I get to Hobb. Yeah, somebody just says seasons 1 through 4 are great, and the rest is a slow decline from there. Yeah, you can say I'm trying to remember like where everything goes. I just remember at one point, dude, it's like where the crew, the party is really fucking down and out, and it's just kind of savage. And that's when I was like, dude, this show is fucking good. like it does not look like it looks like all these motherfuckers are gonna die. Like they're done. Like this shit sucks for them. Awesome for me. Legends of the Brave Bard. Don't forget me. Oh. Yeah, yes, Emberblade is thick. Yeah, thanks, Chadia. Probably the reason you haven't read it yet, and that probably be one of the reasons I haven't read it yet. I'm not gonna lie, it's not like I haven't read door stopper sized books. Some of my favorites are really big chunkers, but that is not like. I'm gonna be straight up. That's not an attractive thing for me. If I see a giant book, my first fucking feeling is not, oh, I can't wait to read all that. No, not at all. Quite the opposite. It goes, well, when the fuck am I going to be able to fit that big bastard in? Are you crazy? Like, you see that thing? It's going to take me all goddamn month. Yeah, I've become way better with it. You know what I mean? Like, where years and years ago, I wouldn't even think about reading a big chunker. But now I'm like, yeah, it's totally possible. But I just wonder, like, when do I have time? You know, I started Brian Lee Durfee's The Forgetting Moon. That's a big bastard of a book, you know. And like as I'm getting into it, I'm like, I really like it, but I also not so into younger characters. And I'm like, do I want to spend this much time? You know, like that's the thing with the big books. Yeah, you can put a lot in there, but it's also you're asking more of the reader. You're asking for more time. And some of us just will look at it and be like, dude, without knowing much about the book or without having enough, you know, being convinced enough, that thing's still just going to sit on the shelves and just stare at me because it's not enticing when it's this fucking thick. Oh, man. I'm like, dude, look, if I could. Okay, Cormani. Illborn is the first book in a while that had me staying way past late. Dark characters and magical with a ton of mystery. So who's the author of Illborn? Is it a series? I mean, can you tell me a little bit? I do like dark characters. That's my shit. That's my jam. Fucked up people. He could try the second trilogy and then take a break. Exactly. Okay. Jim says Hobb is my favorite author, by the way. Yeah. And you're not alone. There are fucking like how I am with Baker. I see plenty of people like that with Hobb, you know. I think one of the things that is kind of attractive about Hobb is that I've heard that she'll break your heart, and that makes me want to read her because I'm like, I like having my heart broken over books. I know it sounds fucked up, but that's what usually, like, if you can break my heart in a story, I'll probably speak very highly of your book. The man in the white coat and hat. I want to speed read, but I don't have the time to speed read. Yeah. Who has time for speed reading? Yeah, I mean, it's like for me, when I approach them, like, I wish I could speed read. I just can't because I feel like I'll lose like my place. I'll kind of lose track of something, whatever. I just kind of have to approach it and like absorb it at whatever pace seems to be hitting me at that time. Sometimes I'll fly through shit and it's just the way it's written or the way it's hitting me that just, you know, propels me fucking faster and faster through the story. But then sometimes too, it's something that's like every fucking like Baker. It's like sometimes it could take a long time to get through some pages just because you're like, you read a sentence and you're like, oh, fuck. man, let me think about that for a minute. And then you're like, okay, when you're done thinking about it, you read the next sentence, you're like, oh shit, let me think about that for a minute. Very introspective. The Thing, it took me 10 years to read Erickson. Yeah, so that's it. Like sometimes it's like those big demands can be a lot of your fucking time, and sometimes you're kind of too worried about you might not have enough time. So I mean, that's not to say everybody's the same. I know there are people that are like, they don't want nothing to do with a shorter book. They're like, fuck, it's a waste of my money. It's a waste of my time because it's not enough. I'm like, that always blew me away because I'm like, shit. I like a shorter book. To me, my like a novel, like the sweet spot for me is like probably around 400 pages. That I love a novel like about 400 pages. Don't need it to be crazy more or crazy less. When I see 1,000-page book, I'm like, why didn't you split it up? Why is it 1,000 fucking pages? Especially if it's a series. I'm like, what the? Make it 2 fucking books. Make it a fucking long series. But once again, this is like some people think like shit. I have to have all this word count, page count, all this shit to make it enticing. They really, you know what I mean? Especially when dealing with epic fantasy. Claudia says Hobb can write another 16 door stoppers and I'll still read them back to back. Ah, that's awesome. It's been a minute since I've like really like the last couple things I like. Don't really know. Like it takes a lot to get me to like, you got to hit me real hard to get me to read shit back to back. Baker's done it. Michael Fletcher's done it. And Mark Lawrence has done it. I think that, I mean, I might, oh, and Anne Rice, you know, back in the day, I was all I fucking read was vampire books. Hellborn King has a lot of alcoholics. I like that. I definitely am looking for more like more alcoholics. Those are my peeps. Chadia Illborn is Daniel T. Jackson. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check this out. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Do I already have this? Sorry, I know this is riveting right now. No, I don't think I do have this, but I'll pick it up. I was thinking it was this other. I think I was thinking maybe Daniel Abraham or something. There's so many. Try to get to him. You're going to continue with Gentleman Bastard series? I do think I am because honestly, this is it's been such a roller coaster ride for me. Like with the Liza Locke Lamora, it took me forever to get into that fucking book. I don't like I love his plotting, but I don't necessarily love his pacing because he decides to just spend a lot of time on certain things, which I understand for some readers really fucking does it for him because of the amount of time he spends on it. To them, it feels so much more. It adds all this gravitas and nuance to it. You know what I mean? It's this more realistic, bigger thing now. For me, where it's like, I wish he would have just kind of kept it skimped on some of this shit and just been like, yeah, it's a fucking con. We're now moving forward. But the fucking wine con in that book was the hardest fucking bump for me to get over. Once I got over it, it was much easier book. And I think the thing is his style is very detailed, maybe too detailed for somebody like me. But I kind of want to keep pushing not because I want to see if it changes, because I've heard it really doesn't. But I want to see if I change along the journey. And I do think that he's a fucking amazing writer. Just because like a writer doesn't gel with you doesn't mean that they're not talented, because this is just where taste kind of plays a part. You know what I mean? Preference, stuff like that, you know? But I do think that Scott Lynch is a phenomenal writer. I just think that his style caters a little bit more to others than it does to me. I'm just kind of interested to see if my opinion doesn't change though, because of how much respect I do have for his writing. And I wasn't like, I don't know. We'll just see. I'm definitely going to continue to the next book. Um, I kind of have a feeling where it's going to go, but I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise me. The one thing I want to add to that though too is like the Liza Lamora got me. You know, it hit me here. And like I said earlier, if you break my heart, I'll probably speak pretty highly of your book. Um, I'm trying to think if I could really consider it heartbroken, but I definitely cried. You know what I mean? Like he hit me with enough. Like he made me fucking like I got sad. I shouldn't say he made me because like I got pretty fucking sad, you know, enough to fucking cry. Not even just like a single tear, like from watching like House of Dragons, like where you're like, oh, that scene was good. No, this was like almost like ugly crying, like oh my fucking God. Like yeah, I mean he got me, and that is well, that's like sometimes I'll say, you know, that's all I can ask for out of an author. It's just to hit me in a spot that fucking pulls emotion out, you know. Bravo, and that's to me regardless if I have a lot of issues with the way he like approaches storytelling, I have enough respect if you do that to me that I will continue. So yeah, I'm going to continue. The thing, each chapter is a book of its own. Jim Daniel, I want to get into Malazan, but I want to read some of the Black Company first. That's what I did. Is I took the Black Company route, and I got 2 books left to read. But I will say this reading Black Company kind of made me pump the brakes even more on Malazan because I think some of the stuff I don't like about Black Company is literally like boom right there in Malazan. And maybe you guys that have read it like no, but I'm not a big fan of like just pages of fucking military tactics. I understand. I understand that some do, but I do not. I don't give a shit. I do at first, but if you're going to continue down this path and just, it's like, that was basically why I have pumped the brakes so big time on Black Company because the last 3, 4, 5 fucking books just felt too similar. They all had so much tactic shit in there. They're just talking about who's doing what instead of like showing me. You're just fucking telling me all these tactics, and it just grinded at me. And it definitely killed a bit of my fucking feet first spirit. But I'm still in, and I will finish that series. But like I said, people making parallels to Malazan made me drag my feet. Is the Black Company worth it? I think so because I think, especially, I would say this: read the first 3 books. Read the first 3, because I think that is a spot where you could enjoy it and walk away from it if you're not digging it. Um, the big thing being, man, like I really like the first book, the very first book, because I think that Glenn Cook's wizards are fucking awesome. Like the 10 that were taken, just how they're each like their own kind of very different fucking crazy fucking mad wizard and everything. I just love the imagery. I loved his imagination, the fucking wind whales and everything. I mean, flying carpets, the whole nine. It's crazy shit. And it's cool. But a lot of people don't like the first book because it's a bit jarring and pacing and everything. It's just kind of slamming you through the story. But then you go into book 2, and this is where I almost guarantee you across the board, people are all about book 2. So I would say at least give it a shot. Read book 1. If you like it, definitely go to book 2. And if you like that, then I would say at least try book 3 because after that, it gives you a spot to walk away from. Sci-Fi Rogue says book 2 of Gentlemen Bastards as pirates in a weird casino. So that's kind of what I was thinking that book 2 is going to be about because there's this whole deal about treasure, right? Like the sunken treasure and shit. So I just kind of assumed that we were going to be on some ships doing some treasure hunting. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like I'm at least partway right. This fucking camera, man. If it wasn't so expensive, I might punch it. I cried too in Liza Locklemore. Yeah, man. I mean, that's hey Wilbur. Um, Jim, I mean, like when he had that's the thing I think I was like really giving him like if you can make me do this like twice in your fucking book, especially when I'm having some like taking issue with certain things, but still even with that my criticism still managed to climb over the hurdle and get me in the goods, like fuck, it's impressive. So I think some of those characters were just really designed to do that too. Though, like he knew what he was doing. His plotting is really good. So I knew, like, looking back on it, I'm like, everything that happened, like, he probably already had that shit figured out a long time ago. So he got to just detail it up and get, like, such sadness. Aaron G, any John Gwynn series such as the Bloodsworn series? So far, 2 books out of Shadow and Hunger. The gods are really good. Grimdark, but Norse mythology, pretty fantasy, pretty done. So here's the deal. I don't know if I'll ever make it to John Gwynn. Not that I'm not interested. I am interested, and I think he's got some of the coolest fucking covers on his newest books. It's just again one of those things. It's tough. I have so many trilogies I haven't finished, so many series I haven't finished, and I keep adding. There's still tons of shit I want to read. So I'm gonna try to fit some shit in. I don't know about John Gwynn though. I'd like to, but my thing is like, am I gonna start another long going series or whatever? Like, ugh, I got so much shit I need to catch up on. Sci-Fi Rogue says he recently finished a Long Price Quartet, and that got me in the feels. Yeah, so I've heard some pretty good things about the Long Price Quartet. Um, yeah, that is definitely something that's been on my radar. If you want a revival to Lord of the Rings, check out The Broken Sword by Paul Anderson. He does an epic story in 225 pages as opposed to Tolkien's 1,200 pages. Came out same year. All right, cool. Jim Daniel, yeah, that's why I hesitated with Black Company. Yeah. I give, you know what I mean? Like one of the things Cook's pacing in his books is the one thing I was like, man, it's one thing that I feel like he struggled with. It's like he either delivers it too fast or he's just going, it's hard for him to catch that like good, happy medium, at least for me. Yeah, so Chadi is saying that she doesn't want to start Malazan because of people saying it's military heavy. Not my thing. See, I thought military fantasy was my thing, but I was looking at much more from just like a like, you know, fucking squads and battles and shit like that, not from the tactician's point of view or side of things. And that's where it all really slowed down for me. At first, I was like, okay with it, but then it was just like, it's like, okay, well, then the next book is 50 to 60% tactics as well. It's like, after a while, you're like, fucking, I'm just not hot to trot for it anymore. Eric, Goblin in One Eye. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like, as much as there's some things in there that are kind of grind at me or whatever, and like the tactics thing I might not like, I can't deny the characters of Cook. He has created some of the coolest fucking characters that I love, especially if you like when the reason why I think, you know, I like Hairlock, but that makes a whole lot of sense because of who I like out of like Glenn Cook's books. You know, like I love his crazy fucking wizards, and I feel like Hairlock was probably directly influenced from Cook's books, like because Hairlock feels like he came out of fucking Black Company. But Goblin and One Eye are like some of the best. Like they're buddies. They're on the same side, but they're always fucking with each other, and that's what's up. That's like one of the best relationships in those books is Goblin and One Eye. Have you read Marlon James' Black Leopard, Red Wolf? People say it's a Song of Ice and Fire in Africa. No, but I have had my I got my fucking like eyes on that one. I think I might get into it. I want to say my buddy Christos like suggested it. So yeah, I'm interested. It's definitely got my interest. Some Okie do. Black Leopard Red Wolf is amazing. Sweet. Yeah, that's good to hear. Like right after I'm like, I've got my interest to hear somebody like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah. It's definitely, like I said, it definitely has my interest. You read too slow. Yes, I do. I mean, that was the whole point was like starting the show. I can get into a mode if I just keep reading and reading that I'm fucking lightning fast. But for like my normal reading speed is usually pretty slow, and a lot of times it's like certain outside aspects affecting that or whatever. But that's a big thing or like reason why I wanted to start this channel is because like as somebody who maybe doesn't read or reads really slow and can be intimidated, how the fuck do you know like what to really pick? Because every like advertisement for a book is just going to tell you it's good. Or we also live in a very polarizing time where everything is just all good or all bad, and where's the middle, right? So this channel started as an attempt to help slow and struggling readers help decide like what they like, if something was worth it for them or not. And I, maybe I veered from that a bit, but I've always tried to keep it at least in sight. Like I'm always trying to help the slow and struggling. Brad, Misahi, better late than never. That's right, Brad. Thank you so much. Aaron G. John's book covers are dope. I agree, especially those new ones. Those new ones are, I don't know who's doing the art, but it's a fucking amazing job. Brad says, Dread Empire by Cooks. Now, see, I've heard this. I've heard a lot of people tell me that they preferred his Dread Empire series. So that's interesting. I might like pick it up sometime when I'm like ready for that sci-fi itch. Probably after I do Rocchio's, after I do Pierce Brown, maybe pick up Cook. I also though wanted to try out Stephen Donaldson's Gap cycle, which is supposed to be pretty fucked up sci-fi. Eric, do you feel like you need a shower every time you took a breath reading The Great Ordeal, or just me? Not The Great Ordeal as much as The Unholy Consult. The Field's appalling. It fucked. I put the book down. I put the book down and I hit up Christoph. So I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is the darkest, most disturbing shit I've ever read. And he was like, yeah, isn't it awesome? And I was like, it is. It really is. But yeah, I felt pretty fucking filthy. I felt really filthy after The Field's appalling. Jim Daniel, I saw a lot of fan art from characters from Black Company, and that's what sold me to try it. That's cool. I don't know if I've seen a whole lot of fan art about Black Company. I should check that out. I'd be interested to see how some artists like envision these characters. The Howler's pretty dope. That's no, it wasn't the Howler. The Limper. Sorry, not the Limper. Is literally he's like the fucking Terminator of bad guy wizards, and I love the Limper. He's legit. I really like the fourth book in the series. Well, it's a weird, depends on how you place the books, but the Silver Spike was one of my favorite reads, and the Limper had everything to do with that. Big Head. The GOT influence on Black Leopard is not the focal point, though. I'd say it's more like a Northman on LSD set in 600 AD Africa. That's fucking hilarious. So I haven't seen the Northman, but I've already heard that the Northman is like a fucking fever dream LSD trip. So now you're telling me that this LSD trip is like being on another LSD trip in 600 AD. I'm not gonna lie, that makes it very enticing. Very, 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 very. I do like weird and I do like dark. And when I was a kid, I loved acid. And when I say kid, I mean like teenagers. Still way too goddamn young to be fucking around with shit like that. But it wasn't like I was 5 years old and fucking dosing. Oh, gotta get ready for Saturday morning cartoons. Well, but I would say it probably had a lot to do with like the shaping of my sense of humor and just outlooks on everything. Some Okie dude says, was about to say it's not really like Game of Thrones. It's like a acidy literary Conan like book. You guys keep saying this shit. It's really, this thing's probably getting bumped way the fuck up my list by the end of this live stream because I'm laughing and everything, but you gotta understand, like, you guys are speaking my language. Cause all this sounds awesome. Norsemen on LSD in 600 AD Africa, fucking acidy literary Conan. Fuck yeah. Jeremiah, when do I plan to start my Rockio read through? Really soon. If anyone's interested in like going through it with me or whatever, I can make an announcement on Discord. But let's put it this way. I just finished Dune. I got Interview with the Vampire. I want to at least finish Race of the Broken Land. So probably at earliest, probably next month. Probably maybe starting in November or somewhere in November. I can always put a message out on Discord too, like, hey, I'm going to read this if anyone wants to. I'll tell you right now, currently, I'm pretty sure they're doing a read along on my Discord for that book. So if you're wanting to get into it now, there's fucking a bunch of people talking about it. Aaron G, the new one had a dragon and a wolf, guessing mythology characters. Yes, yeah, dude, the wolf cover was. I say wolf. I can't say wolf. The wolf cover was the shit, dude. So cool, so fucking cool. Jeremiah, I dropped LSD regularly in high school. Me too, man. I did a lot of LSD. I did a lot of mushrooms when I was a teenager. That was my shit. I liked to live on the edge, shit melting and fucking the walls are breathing. Which is why, I mean, and I have a fucking vast passion for trippy shit. You show me some trippy shit, you're gonna see a guy that's just like enamored, like. Jim Daniels, some Okie dude, would you recommend any of the Howard Conan books? I guys, I just picked up because of how I'm feeling about Elric now. Like, I've been really enjoying my Elric ride. I picked up I went on Kindle and got like it's like a bunch of Conan stories all in one, kind of like an omnibus or whatever. And there's some like very popular Conan stories in that. So I'm stoked. I'm going to try to get into Conan. I just don't know if I'm going to wait till next year or if I'll crack into it sometime this year. But Conan's got me excited. After reading some of that Elric and realizing was like, man, this shit is dark. Like, it's fucking way ahead of its time in darkness. And now I'm always like, oh, this is the darkest shit from its time. But the only thing that always pops a question in my mind is Conan. That there's the possibility that Conan takes it darker. Who knows? I'm going to get into it. I can hear my son waking up, so it's going to be time. We went for a good amount here. 2.5 hours is fucking awesome. And I do have some research to do if Baker is actually writing No God. Marcus Weber just caught the yarning. Oh, yes, the hunter. Yes. Good fucking eye, my friend. Did you notice I put him right next to my unicorns? So he's like hunting the unicorns. I thought about this because I'm always thinking of ideas. Remember, like, because I grew up with the last unicorn. I was thinking because of the setup, I was like, oh man, what about a book like called The Last Unicorn Hunter? Maybe make unicorns really fucking vicious. It sounds silly, but I think there's a way that it can be done well. Jim Daniels, I want to try classics like Conan, Elric, Book of the New Sun. I mentioned Jack Vance previously. Mark, you should try his Dying Earth books. Okay. Yeah, because I'm kind of right there with you, man. Like I like taking a trip into like classic town, you know what I mean? Like really getting a feel for what really set the stage and the mood for everybody that came after. You know what I mean? Like you got to understand like this stuff like there's always roots somewhere, and it always blows my mind, and I get a massive amount of like payoff by like finding those connections, those influences through more classical works. So yeah, Jack Vance is definitely somebody I'll be checking out. So Moki dude, Moorcock is certainly dark, but he's also weird too. And yes, he absolutely is. And that's one thing I think that he's really captured me with for a guy that hasn't done. I'm pretty sure that Michael Moorcock has never done acid, but you would think he does nothing but eat acid by reading some of his stories. They're so fucking imaginative and just tripped out at times. It's bonkers. I love Elric. Oh man, he's getting upset, guys. I'm gonna have to go really soon, but let me try to get these last few in here. Kieran, any news on the No God? Still can't get over the ending of Aspect Emperor. So, just within the time of doing this live stream, somebody jumped in, said that 20 minutes ago, Baker put a post out on his blog that he is working on the No God. I can't confirm nor deny this. I've been in the live chat. So as soon as I get off this fucking live chat, I'm going to start doing some research, send a line out to Madness, ask if this shit's real or not. And if it is, the more and more information I get, I'm going to create a video, and I will by all means put that out for you guys, because I want to know, so I know you want to know. So I will let you know as soon as I know. Sci-Fi Rogue, I need to read more Conan and Elric. Karsa Orlong and Animander Rake are awesome. Malazan takes on those characters. Yeah. That's why I feel like Nair Urskiotha, I feel like is a take on Conan. Where also I felt like Ringle Eskiath in a way really reminds me of Elric. Clarissa Hendershire, hello, I'm new here. Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm sorry, it's about to end here, but I will leave this thing up. Clarissa, hey, welcome to the fucking shit show that is my channel. Feel free to hop in my Discord, or to fucking check out videos, or jump on the next live one. The one good thing I'm gonna start doing this thing where I actually send out a little message on my Discord, because I kind of just do these live things on the spur of the moment. But if you join the Discord, I'll try to put out like a fucking, at least a warning, like, hey, I'm going to do a video in 10, 20 minutes, and you'll know a little bit more ahead of time, versus just like all of a sudden being like, what the fuck? And then checking it out. And I'm notorious for this myself. I find a live video, I jump on it, and it's literally the last like 2 minutes of the live stream. So I I get it, Clarissa. Jim Daniel, hell yeah, more Baker. Let's hope it's true. Let us hope, but also let's be prepared. Elric, dude, what a cool name. We're just talking about you. Elric, starting the Emperor of Thorns soon. Fucking dab. Yeah, that's an awesome book. That made me cry as well. The relationship between Macon and Jorg is something in those books that I really clung to. I love Macon Bortha as a character. I love Jorg, obviously. Just amazing trilogy. I love Mark Lawrence for those books. Right on, guys. I could see it. Mark, here's the idea. Take a unicorn, but make them dark like the Nazgul from the first Peter. Yeah, exactly. Like make it like damn near like a horror, like a fucking horror show. Like these, like you're really petrified of fucking unicorns. You gotta have to flip it completely around and create a fucking evil atmosphere that's like just convincing enough around these mystical creatures. And then now you have like the last fucking bastion of hope in our fucking unicorn hunter. It sounds so ridiculous, but I think if you could really pull it off, people would be impressed because they would all talk about how the premise sounds like such a joke, but the beauty of it is that it's such an awesome story. It's a chance, I mean, it's something. I like to come up with ideas because then, you know what I mean, whenever I finally finish something, I'll have a whole bag of ideas to pull from what I want to do next. Yeah, Jeremiah's saying he still doesn't see anything new on Baker's blog. I'll have to do some digging, guys. I'll look around and see if maybe it's not on his blog, but on something else. Possibly, maybe it was just like like maybe they didn't mean his blog, maybe they meant something else. I don't know. I'm gonna look in all the avenues I can look. I'll hit up Madness and see what the fuck, see if I can verify anything, and if I can verify it, I'll let you know. But I don't want to I don't want to fucking give anybody any false hope. So like because you see like when I got that information, what happened? I fucking celebrated for 5 minutes straight. Fuck the live stream, let's say hoo-ha. Oh fuck. Chadia, was fun, Mark. Thank you, Chadia. Kieran, once you read Deadhouse Gates, I think you will get straight into Malazan. Defo great ordeal vibes. Awesome. Yeah, and I think that I don't doubt it. I think, like because I've only read that one, that's all I have to go off of. But like I said, like watching my buddy Evan burn through those makes me really wonder because I feel like we have a lot of similar tastes. And I very much, there's a guy I trust his opinion. Like fucking, if he tells me something, I don't question it at all. All right, Aaron G, another great love. Yes, dude. Yes, another great love chat. Stay well. Oh, thank you, Aaron. Clarissa. Yeah, I laughed in my ass. Yeah. Clarissa got here at the last moment. Damn it. I'll tell you what, Clarissa. Next time you get here, I'll answer as many goddamn questions as you want. And you could also still feel free to jump in the Discord at me all you want. If I have the moments, I will use them to answer questions, help out readers, whatever. Chit chat, bullshit, all I can. Jeremiah. Cool, thanks, man. Chadia. Yeah. Right on. Cool. Well, sweet. We did over 2.5 hours, guys. Fucking A. I need to go take care of my son, though, before he starts to develop some kind of resentment towards me that he will carry throughout his childhood. Like, remember that time I was crying and all you did was just sit there on your fucking computer? Yeah, I love you, Dad. Oh, Wilbur, ciao, brother. Thanks for the great chat. Bye, Mark. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Also, view the snowy trees back there. Yeah, dude, it's really starting to come down. I'm glad I put the tarp over the fucking the wood I chopped yesterday. I'd be fucked. Ugh, I got some work to do. Yep, and it's beautiful. Oh, yeah, make a snowman. I'll make a snowman and watch some Bridgerton. Oh. Yeah. Sorry about those catching it at the last minute, but this won't be the last one, guys. I'm trying to keep these live chats a little bit more, prolific, a little more often, instead of just ghosting everybody. And I kind of getting the time to be able to do this a little bit more. As long as my son takes his naps, it gives me that little chunk of time to film reviews, go over shit, or have a live chat, And today was like, do I want to film my Dune Messiah review or do I want to chat? And I just dropped my interview with the vampire review or like my thoughts and feelings. So I was like, fuck it. Let's do a live chat. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for your time. It does mean a lot to me. I can't thank you enough. And I will catch you very soon. All right. See you later, guys.